While not a forest school necessity, tables are very nice piece of equipment to have. First of all, they help keep things up off the ground, and more importantly in the mud. So they keep things cleaner, means they're less likely to be broken, and it provides a nice handy storage space, particularly if you're working with adults and older children. It also provides a nice workspace that is a better height than working on the ground or working on a tarp. Tables can also be quite a challenge, particularly for people who run pop-up forest schools like myself, where everything needs to get packed in and packed out at the end of the day. So having something that is both portable, sturdy, and is a good size for working with is pretty difficult to find. But I've found quite a decent table. I've been using it for 4 or 5 years now, and I've been really happy with it. So I thought I'd share a quick review with you. So if you're interested in learning more about the high gear camping table, something that I use, as I said, used for many years, then keep watching and we'll get right into it. So this is the High Gear Elite double table. It comes with everything you need to set up the table in one bag. Weighs about 5 and a bit kilos, but it all fits relatively compactly, as I said, into one bag. So it's not going to be as big and cumbersome as those big white folding tables you get, but it's also going to be a bit bigger and a little bit sturdier than your smaller, more compact regular camping tables. So in this box, in this bag, we have a few parts, but it is relatively simple to put up. So we have the main table frame, we have the structural slats, and then we have these are the table slats, and then an added extra which I've added in is a tablecloth, but we'll talk a bit more about that later. So to set it up, it's quite simple. The first thing you're going to need to do is unfold the main structural legs. So there's one side, the other side, and then there's these little diagonal struts that just need to be pushed into place, and then it folds out like that. Nice and simple. So to set up the tabletop, you're going to take these flat sections with the keyhole slots just in the end there, and that just slots over the top of these little pegs and just slots in like that. So you've got 2 end pieces, slot in there, and then you've got a center piece which has the double-sided slat, so it's not rounded on one side. Slot that in. Now the underside of these slats have these little plastic sliding sliding pegs, and they just go into the holes in the black edging either side. It's one side. And there we go. That's the tabletop ready for use. Then if you're on any kind of slope, the last thing you want to adjust is this little leg on the side there. So you want this leg to be on the downhill slope because it has a little adjustment here. So if you loosen this screw, you can then slide the leg in and out. This is invaluable for leveling the table and a really nice feature. Works fantastically on slopes, on rougher ground and so on. So you just tighten it up, make sure all the other 3 legs are on the ground as well. And tighten it up, and that's all set. There we go, that's the table all set up. As you can see, it's quite a good height for if you're sitting down on a regular size camping chair. It's not a bad height to eat at, to work at and so on. But like many camping tables on the market, it's going to be a little bit low for working at unless you are quite a bit shorter than me. Luckily, most of the children I work with are shorter than me and work just fine at this table level. So things I like about this table in general. First of all, it is relatively compact, so as you saw, it fits in that bag. It's only about 5 kilos, so relatively light, compact. It's easy to carry with me. It's not too bad to set up. It takes a couple of minutes, but you can get that time right down with practice, and it can be a little bit fiddly in places, but in general I don't find it very much of a problem. Thirdly, it's robust. It's really good quality for what it is, and I've run all sorts of activities on top of here, and I've never had a problem with it. The best thing though, I've got to say, is the adjustable leg. It makes such a difference. I've got a lot of regular kind of, those fold out tables with the legs that flip out, and things are always sliding off them because it's always a bit of a slope and it's difficult to get it leveled. Even with a plank, you put a plank under one leg and then it lifts up another leg. That adjustable leg is an absolute game changer. It makes things so much easier to level it, and I usually work on a slope. One of my main sites is quite decently sloped, and I've never had any problems with setting up this table there. It's something I wish that all tables and camp furniture had, because it really does make a massive difference. So on to things I don't like so much. One of these is these little sliding pegs that fit into the holes that lock the table top together. These slide out and they're black. This makes them really easy to lose. I think I'm working with under the full complement of these for this table, because I've lost a couple of, I find them again, I lose them again. They're really easy to lose and drop out. I haven't worked out a way to keep them in while still allowing them to slide around and be adjustable for tabletop. So that is, but as I said, I'm currently working without the full complement, and the table still works just fine. As long as you have 1 or 2 on each section that help hold it in at each side, it's generally not much of a problem. The other thing you'll probably notice is that this table is slatted. This means that if you do anything messy on top, it will get in between the slats, and it will be a massive pain to clean, because you'll be sitting there with a bottle brush or a toothbrush or a cloth trying to get in all of the cracks, and it is a real frustration and a pain. So solid tabletops have that going for them. Slatted tabletops, they are a lot harder to clean, which is why I bought myself a PVC tablecloth from Amazon. So really simple, waterproof one. I can just slide it on top, and there we go. I now have a waterproof surface that I can wipe clean, I can take away, I can take into the house, I can make sure it's cleaned properly. It may well not stand up to the rigors of of children and forest school for as long as the table will, but it provides a decent amount of protection and it does work. So I usually have this as my tea and coffee table, and then I will bring in another table and have that for if I'm running anything to do with cooking or I need another work surface. So having multiple tables is really useful for bigger kind of camp cooking events. I might have a washing up table and a prep table and just a table for utensils. And as I said earlier, it's a great way to get things up off the floor and at a more comfortable height for most children and shorter adults. Taking the table apart is a simple matter of working in reverse. Pop the slats out, fold them up, fold them over. I try not to be too careful about folding them because you can try and fold them really neatly and it just comes apart in the bag. Just fold it into thirds is usually good enough. Pop the other side into thirds off. These just require a bit of wiggling around so you can find where the keyhole is. Take them out, so the end ones are quite easy. The middle one sometimes takes a little bit of maneuvering. That comes off just easily. Then we have our main frame, so we just go flip those two together, loosen the sides, and then we can fold it in. But it needs to be folded in a certain order. So if we look on this side, there's a short L. This particular L is very short. If we look over here, we've got a long L. So the short L needs to move first. So you slide it in. And at that longer L, as you can see, it just holds it a little bit further out when it hinges and slides together. Then going back in the bag, go in with the, well, first, as you can see, made a hole in the end of the bag there, but that's part of the course for something that's relatively cheap, that's been going for this many years. Then go in with the structural tabletop pieces and then the slats. It does make a bit of a racket as you put it away. And then we can take our tablecloth that has seen better days and fewer knives, and that will just about slot in there. So that the bag does have a bit of room, but if you're wanting to fit extra stuff in, it is going to be a bit more of a squeeze. But with just the table on its own and no tablecloth, it does zip up just fine. And there we go. That's all packed up like that. So there we go, that is the High Gear Elite Double Camping Table. It is available most often from Go Outdoors Millets Blacks, that business empire there. Amazon did used to have it. It has the smaller version. It doesn't currently have the double version, but if it does come back on, I will leave a link to that as well. As I said, I've done really well with it for a number of years. I mean, it is a cheap table, so you're not going to expect masses from it, but it has lasted above and beyond and has taken some quite heavy weight and a lot of inept putting away and setting up. So it's one that I do recommend. So anyway, hope you found that helpful. Thank you so much for watching. And just before you go, I wanted to say a big thank you to Wellness Woodlands for again hosting the filming of these videos. They do help to make everything possible, and I really enjoy the weekends when I get away to here and do some filming, relax, do some private bushcraft sessions, and just generally take it a little bit easier in beautiful surroundings. So it's getting busier now that it's heading into the summer, getting some really nice weather, so somewhere well worth checking out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Remember to make the most of every day, and I'll see you all next time.